Hello, my name is Professor John Benjamin. This is West Virginia Wesleyan College, and today I'm going to show you how to do the Ken Burns effect in Adobe Premiere. Alright, so let's open Premiere, and I've provided some images for you in a folder. If you don't have access to those images, simply use your own photographs or something from Pexels. I think some of these images I use from Adobe stock. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead first, and I'm going to bring these images in. Just select a few, just pick ones that interest you. I'm going to pick this one, and I think just these two are the only two I'm going to work with. But let's bring in a bunch just for kicks and giggles. All right, drag those into your project panel. And now in this instance, I don't have any video footage for this illustration, so I'm going to actually create a sequence. Typically, you have a video, you drag it into the timeline, and that automatically creates a sequence. But in this case, I'm going to create a sequence from scratch. So I'm going down here to the new item, and I'm going to say new sequence. And I'm going to choose HDV, 1080i, 30 frames per second. And we'll just call this Ken Burns. All right, I'm going to start with this image here, drag it onto my timeline, and I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to make it about 4 seconds long. All right, so the first thing that you might notice is this isn't the full size of the image. So I'm going to double click, and then I can move the image around, and I can grab the corner anchor points here to scale it down to meet this 1080 size I have here, 1920 by 1080. This image was taken much larger. All right, and essentially what I want to do is I'm going to animate it so it gets larger, and it'll appear like it's zooming a little bit, but in fact, we're just increasing the scale. All right, so how's that done? Well, I'm in the Effects tab, and I have the Effects Control panel open over here. And so already, because I have an image, there's certain things that I can do straight away. And what I want to do is I want to animate the scale, which is under Motion. So I'm going to open up Motion, then I'm going to open up Scale. And with my cursor, or CTI, right here at the beginning, I'm going to go ahead and hit this stopwatch. And that gives me a keyframe. Now I'm going to move my CTI to the end, roughly around somewhere at the end there. And then there's two things you can do. If I make any changes to the scale, it'll automatically create a keyframe. I'm going to move it in so you can see it. So let's say I increase it a little bit. You can see I get a keyframe. The other way, and this is the way that I prefer to do it, is I simply hit this button, which is add or remove a keyframe. I can hit it again, it removes it, and I can add it. And this has these two delightful arrows, which will take me right to the last keyframe. So those are pretty handy. All right, so let's go to the first keyframe. Here we are. It's at 53. I like to work in round numbers. That's 53% because we scaled it down. Okay, that's a little too small, so I'm going to have to go up a little bit, even though I don't like round numbers. All right, 51. And then now let's go to the next keyframe. I'm going to hit this little arrow. And I want to scale it up to, let's say, 60%, like so. Not too much. It's very important that when you do this sort of effect, it has to be very, very subtle, just a very subtle change. That may even be too much. All right, now let's play that through. And there you have it. It adds some visual interest to the story. Okay, so let's just do one more thing to make it just a little bit more dynamic, very, very subtle. I'm going to add an ease in and an ease out. I'm going to pull this out again so you can see it a little better. So if I hover over a keyframe and I right-click on it, I can choose several options here. Right now it's linear. It's just straight, going from roughly 50 to 60% size. And what I want to do is I want to ease in. And the keyframe shape changes. And then up here, I'm going to right-click and I'm going to say ease out. All right, so what's happened here is essentially it's going to, when we first play it, it's going to slowly get larger, and then around the middle, it'll get faster, and then it'll slow down again. It makes it more of a natural occurrence or a natural motion. And so this is one of the 12 principles of animation. It's easy ease or ease in and ease out. So it just sort of exaggerates motion. So like when we start to get in motion, we start off slow, we pick up speed, and then before we slow down again, and then we stop. We don't just start at 10 miles an hour and then end at 10 miles an hour. So in the natural world, there's this beginning, this easing in and then easing out. So we try to do that to make it feel more natural. All right, so now let's do one more. So that was a scale, and let's just do something that's moving from top to bottom. So I'm going to select this Adobe stock image here of the newspaper clippings. Notice again, it's very large, so I'm going to go ahead and double click on it. I can also just come right over here to scale, and without animating anything, without hitting the stopwatch, I can scale it up and down. All right, so right there, that's about 36. Try to have even numbers. But I'm going to make it a little larger because I want to move it up and down. So let's make it 45. All right, and then I'm going to position it at the bottom, double click, and then I can move it so it's at the bottom like so, starting with the word uncertainty. And then I'm not going to be changing the scale, I'm going to be changing the position this time. So I'm going to hit the stopwatch for position. I'm going to move my cursor over here to the end. And I'm going to add another keyframe. And then here, I'm just going to what we refer to as scrub. I'm going to scrub the position, and I'm going to scrub it down until I get to the end, just about there. All right, and let's see that. All right, nice and simple. But once again, I want to add a little bit of life to it, so I'm going to come here, and I'm going to right-click, and sometimes you'll have to hit temporal interpolation, is what we're doing. So I'm going to say ease in, and then I'm going to temporal interpolation and ease out. And in fact, this time I'm going to change it a little bit more. I'm going to select continuous Bezier, so it might be a little bit more natural. All right, let's play that. There we are. And that's how that's done. So good luck. Bye-bye.